But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Hutu once again is a winner. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that finish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu works himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Hutu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Hutu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never ever say that Gregor Hutu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger, he comes back stronger. He wins round #9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest racing driver, you can do it with your statements on the road courses. Do it when it matters. Out of the final corner for the final time, number 50 for Gregor Hutu, out of the final corner. At the top of the broadcast, we said if Hutu could win here today, he could well cement himself as the championship favourite. Gregor Hutu, the #1 machine, back to victory lane, win number 51. Hutu is inching closer rapidly to his 5th, and yes, I say that correctly, his 5th World Championship. Out of the bus stop chicane comes the #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu will win here at Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Yes, you may be behind a computer with a steering wheel and a set of pedals, but for these drivers, this is as close as they may ever get to racing in real life. It will be Gregor Hutu coming past the line. He is a 5-time world champion. Gregor Hutu wins the championship one more time. He is the greatest driver in the history of open wheel racing here at iRacing.com, and dare I say it, he is the greatest open wheel champion in the history of sim racing. But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he...
Good evening, sim racing fans. Tonight is the night that we have been racing for all week long as the 2015 Sim Auto Racing Association Fall Brawl Spectacular takes to the track for two final times from the home of the Snowball Derby, the virtual Five Flag Speedway. It's pro late model time on Live Sim Racing TV and iRacing Live as we welcome you into our continuing coverage of the biggest short track racing event in sim racing. Tonight, the M. Rolf Designs Fall Brawl 200 to get us underway. Live in the booth with you for tonight's Sunday night short track action alongside of myself, joined by Andy Kessler, Cisco Scar Musa, my name is Evan Pasoko, Gabriel Wood down on the pit lane for us, our executive producer Laurel Lawson, and Andy, welcome to the Five Flag Speedway. You've missed quite the exciting last 3 days of action, but I'll tell you what, you chose a good night to come here. It's Sunday night. This is where the big money comes out, and it starts with the pro late models and super lates later on tonight.
Yeah, we've done a lot of races recently in the last couple of months here at Five Flags with these late models and super late models. So this track has just been putting on some great racing for everybody. It's so tight coming off the corners. It's just been a really nice place to have a lot of these races come through in the Fall Brawl. What a place to have it at. And it's probably been one best thing that these short track fans and racers have been long awaiting for when they finally introduced this track in the sim. So it's definitely getting its use, and tonight's no other, and we're going to have a fantastic show to put on.
And if it's your first time tuning in, since Monday, over 60 drivers have qualified through 5 different divisions to make this weekend's feature races. Last night, we saw the SK Modifieds, the Street Stocks, and the Super Trucks take to the track. And tonight, the Pro Late Models for 200, and later on tonight, the main event for the Super Late Models, 250 laps in Cisco. It has been exciting. We've seen guys roughing each other up, but if you're thinking about a short track, what are you thinking about? Late models. That is all tonight is about. Couple more laps on the board, a lot more cash up for grabs. It is going to be probably the best night of action we've seen all week long.
Absolutely, and we have some really strong drivers. A lot of them we've seen earlier in the week take place in the SK races, the SLM qualifiers, a bunch of stuff. So we're going to be seeing some familiar names up front tonight. I get the feeling people like James Lankowitz in that 7 car and Ty Majeski in the 91. So a lot of these guys have been running here in several cars, and now we're getting up into the big league stuff. This is the stuff they've been practicing for. This is where the big bucks are, and it's going to be an exciting race here in Pensacola.
There is a $220 payout to the top 15 drivers that finish this race. An additional $45 of prizes to the drivers who finish in the hard charger position. For the driver that gains the most points start to finish, 3 drivers in a random finishing position will get a $5 bonus. And Ty Majeski on Wednesday got the fastest lap in time trials with a 16.718. He gets $5 for the Pro Late Model Fast Lap Award. However, time trials didn't set the grid. It was the qualifying dash, and James Lankowitz went on to win that one, and he'll start from pole position in the Rolf Designs Fall Brawl 200. We take a look at the LSRTV starting grid as we get set for 200 laps of battle tonight. Hunter Combs will start on the outside of the front row, the number 63 machine. We've seen him all weekend long. Todd Sipes slated to start from the 3rd spot. That's the inside of row number 2. Wendell Stratton to start from 4th, and that fastest driver in time trials, Ty Majeski, to start from P5.
Starting 6th tonight on the outside of row number 3, that's going to be the 70 of Davey Rindio. The 36 of Darrell Hamlin's going to start 7th. Ty Spearman in the 92 will roll off 8th tonight. 9th will be Joe Schaefer Jr. in the 22. And rounding out top 10 in the 65 will be Mark Gamick.
11th starting spot tonight is going to be that number 98 of Ian Lane. 12th tonight is going to be Jeff Hogart. 13th, Stefan Marinak. Russell Berry starting 14th, and Jason Williams going to roll off 15th.
16th spot going to go to the 44 of Paul Fugate. 17th is Cody Erdman. Scott Dunlap at 18th. 19th is Alex O'Brien. And Brian Thompson rounds out your top 20 cars.
Brian Borges in the 32 is going to start 21st here tonight. 73 of Eric Spencer will roll off 22nd. 23rd will be the 2 of Cody Thompson. Dylan Schmidt will start 24th. And 25th will be the 29 of Dale Owen.
And then Kevin Berg is going to be the last driver on the grid tonight. So 26 cars get set to do battle. The lights on the base car go off this time by. So 26 strong and 13 rows deep will bring us to the green flag in the Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200 presenting sponsor. It's day 7. It's race day number 2. And there's a whole lot on the line as the big boys get set to hit the track. And we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV and on iRacing Live. Pace car going to make that sharp left-hand turn, getting down and away to the safety of pit road. Linkowitz, one of the best cars all weekend long, and the loud pedal green flag is in the air, and the Emerald Designs 200 underway. It is now Sunday, late models on track, and we're green for the first time today. 63 car of Hunter Combs, the Monster Energy Chevrolet. He'll get second. From third on back, though, it's up for grabs. Ty Majeski already trying to crack the top 3. To the inside, he gets 4th.
Yeah, Majeski doing a great job right there. He's going to power it into turn number 1. Going to take that position away. Here comes the 4 car, Wendell Stratton. He's going to try to make a move. Majeski, though, he's going to close the door as they enter turn number 3. So the top 4, 5 guys now single file as they head back into turn 1.
And that sight way up on the top side of the racetrack. The 25 machine started in 3rd position. Normally Cisco the inside good, but because Majeski wasting no time to get to the bottom, Sight found himself top side. He goes back to P8 as David Riendo makes the move.
Yep, we've been seeing that all weekend long, kind of that bottom line, just people diving the inside, trying to get there. As we see right now, Ty Majeski under fire from the number 4 of Wendell Stratton. He is trying to drive hard, trying to maybe have Majeski make a little bit of a mistake, but Majeski now focusing on the 63 of Hunter Combs. It looks like Hunter is starting to check him up a little bit. And now 4 maybe taking a look inside as they come down the backstretch. Majeski going to come down and block him. Hunter Combs going to slide up the track. That's going to give second spot to Ty Majeski as they come out of 4.
And I can't say I'm surprised by that. Hunter Combs with a great starting spot second, but again, something that we mentioned yesterday is these guys qualified in the daytime almost a second quicker when the sun goes down and the lights come on. Combs was only 19th best in the practice session. Majeski, who passed him, was a top 5 car. Wendell Stratton, the number 4 machine that just passed him for 3rd, was the 3rd best car in practice. So Combs, not necessarily the race car that he has wanted here under these current track conditions, falls back to 4th at the moment. James Linkowitz was able to pull away. The gap 0.6 of a second, but with Ty Majeski in second, we take a look on board with the number 4 of Wendell Stratton. He's looking up at the 91, the 91 looking up at Linkowitz, and both of those cars in 2nd and 3rd are closing on your race leader.
They're closing on him, but it's not really in a hurry right now. Linkowitz doing everything he can is to keep that distance. It is shrunk just about 0.2 of a second now over the last couple of laps. So those guys right now, single files of battle, heating up right now for that 4th spot. Cautions out of the speedway.
And it's a spinner down in turns 1 and 2. Yellow flag will fly for the first time tonight, and there's a whole lot of cars parked up against the outside wall. Scott Dunlap's number 30 is one of them. Problems, though, start well in front. It looks like the number 2 machine of Cody Thompson sideways into turn 1, and that's where this is all going to begin. Caution will drop on lap number 9 for the first time tonight. It looks like Cody Thompson topside as you take a look at the LSRT replay in just a moment. 53 machine are at 35 of Cody Erdman coming in behind him. 35 to the inside, the 2 machine, maybe he thought he was there, thought he was clear, or just didn't give enough room, but he comes down on the 35, and like we saw last night, Cisco, I'll turn to you, though 2 guys, 3 cars maybe in that initial accident. The problem is these guys, they can't get checked up in time, and about 3-4 other guys get damaged after the track was blocked in front of them.
Yeah, there was a big checkup. Scott Dunlap basically caused a huge one, wasn't able to check up in time, and the number 44 of Paul Fugate piled in behind the number 30, as well as the 97 of Dylan M. Schmidt. They all kind of piled in there. They weren't able to get checked up in time, so looks like same song, second verse all over again. We're going to have to watch out for these secondary cautions to see if anyone maybe gets taken out, maybe even from the lead like we saw in the SK race. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch tonight.
And down to the pit lane with our LSRTV pit correspondent for the evening, Gabriel Wood. Gabriel, same strategy on these guys that we have seen all weekend long. They have 4 Hoosier Racing tires on those cars now, and they have 4 additional tires in the pit lane. They can come down to, they can take 4, they can split them up into 2 sets of 2 right side tires through the evening.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of these guys. They're only going to usually make 1 pit stop just because of track position. Unless they get damaged, the damage is going to be the real factor for tonight. But with the only four tires allowed, you're gonna see guys taking right sides, left sides, and maybe even four, depending on what their setup calls for and what their cars need at that point in the race. Especially with this dynamic track surface, you're gonna see a lot of adjustments down here in the pits.
Already getting set to go back green. Linkowitz is going to be the control car for this restart. Ian Lane in between your race leader and the pace car. He'll get the wave by when the lights go off, and we get set to go back under green flag conditions. Tonight's Fall Brawl 200 for the Pro Late models, presented by Emerald Designs, title sponsor on our 200 lap feature this evening. Emerald Designs providing affordable and customized high-quality graphics for your motorsports needs, including paint scheme designs, logos, hero cards, and more. Emerald Designs bringing you our 200 lap feature to get Sunday night kicked off. So the strategy call for the 7 is he wants to take the outside lane. In the Sim Auto Racing Association, race leader has the ability to elect to start on the inside or the outside. The 7 elects the outside as the place he wants to be. That'll give, though, that bad fast number 90, What a Time, Majeski, the inside for the restart. We'll see how they negotiate this one. Lap 15 going to be in the books. And look at the 17, not wasting any time at all. James Linkowitz is gone. The green flag flies. First American ethanol restart on the evening. Cleared for P1, and Majeski trying to hold off the 36 of Darrell Hamlin topside for a second. He'll do so at a turn number 2. 36 amp energy machine takes P3.
He takes P3. The 4 of Wendell Stratton, he's able to clear everybody also. So top 4 single file. The battle right now is for that 5th spot. The 63 of Hunter Combs on the bottom side. But look at Joe Schaefer on the high side, really making the high side work right there. Unusual to see that this early in the race, but move him up the spot. 63 still having some struggles here after starting 2nd here tonight. He's still sliding backwards as here comes the 70 of David Riendu. He's going to make it by him too. So the 63 falling back in a hurry.
Yeah, Combs not finding the speed that he had on Wednesday evening for the qualifying session in Cisco. We have not seen a lot of guys pass topside, and we've seen a couple of guys defend, but that was Joe Schaefer Jr. coming from behind the Emerald Design machine and making that pass topside. That means that now he's up 4 spots from the start of the race. He started in 9th position, a top 5 car right now. He chases Wendell Stratton. Stratton just behind. The battle between the top 3, Linkowitz, Majeski, and Hamlin, top 3 drivers separated by about 2 car lengths apiece.
Yeah, and right now the big battle right on the track is for 11th spot. Mark Gamick was just able to get by Stefan Marinak there to grab that spot as another car's up the track. That's number 5 of Brian Thompson. But maybe some handling falling off these cars we saw with Hunter Combs. The one thing I noticed was when he was stuck on that inside, he was kind of wheel hopping it on the inside, those left fronts. So maybe that car may not set up for all the bumps on that low side, as right now the battle is for 3rd with Darrell Hammond. Wendell Stratton is filling up his mirror right now as they come on a 2.
Stratton applying the pressure is right where he started this race. Hamlin, one of the drivers that's been moving forward, benefited from finding himself on the inside for that most recent restart off of the only caution flag we've seen so far. He's passed 4 drivers to get to where he is right now. Take a look back at the pack, and he's trying to make another spot up. How about the number 99, the Coors Light Chevrolet of Kevin Berg, somebody that we talked to last night, a couple of strong runs on Saturday evening, started in P26 on a provisional this evening. He'll take 13th away from the 58 of Jason Williams. That's halfway to the front.
Yeah, he's doing a good job right now, working his way up 13 spots already. Like you said, here coming up, he's going to set his eyes on that 26 now as he's made his way around Jason Williams. The 99, definitely a strong car here early on. Got a pretty good setup, at least on the short run that we can see now. We'll see how it pans out for him as this race goes on and the tires start to wear out.
Don Majeski, he is trying to close the gap just a little bit, not doing so at the moment. Couple of problems back in the pack. Gabriel, the driver that's dead last on the lead lap right now out of the 21 cars that are still working, lap 24 with our leaders, is Brian Thompson. That car a little bit banged up and now sideways. He's actually going to get into an accident on the front straightaway. That's a self-spin. He's in the fence, and this started a couple of laps ago for the 5 car.
Yeah, some real handling problems on that car. He's going to bring out the caution. They should have brought that car in a while ago after that first bit of damage. He self-spun at the same spot down on the front straightaway a few laps ago. I noticed some real handling problems for him. It's a shame this early in the race, but it looks like he's out.
And we just take a look at that 5 machine now, you'll see the replay was just about to talk about the handling problems on that car. A self-spin at a turn number 4. Again, something that has not been uncommon to see. This caution flag, Andy, comes right at lap number 25. And I was talking with a couple of the drivers, and they said at lap 25, the handling goes away on these cars. I don't think that's a coincidence that it happens right at that point, because a lot of the time, you'll hit a cliff, the handling goes away right away, and especially for a guy back in the pack that's got some damage on that car, it's not handling at 100%. That doesn't help much at all.
No, it doesn't help out at all. And, you know, spot out right on the lap 25 having this happen. It's all about abusing your tires. And if you're driving too hard and you're really pushing the issue, or the setup's not exactly where it needs to be, it doesn't take long to wear these tires out and give yourself a handful and try to hang on to this thing, especially with only one set of tires. You're going to be sitting on that for a while. You're going to have to hang on to those tires, and you definitely don't want to take them too early in the race. Otherwise, it's just going to make the end of it that much harder as well.
All right, so right now there are a couple cars came down pit road. Gabe, I think you have some more information on those guys?
It's mostly cars just coming down and getting some damage. I saw a few guys take fuel only. I don't think they're willing to risk their tires.
And like we saw again on Saturday night, guys come down to the pit lane from the back half of the pack here getting service done. None of your race leaders, though, come down to the pit lane at this point. We talked about some guys having some problems here early. We mentioned Hunter Combs, the number 63 machine, started 2nd to 7th. How about Todd Sipe? Quietly, that number 25 machine got out on the outside of the racetrack after it was Majeski made an early move to the inside of the racetrack earlier on. He found himself topside. Good news, if any, is he's finally back on the inside lane. Bad news is it's not before he falls to row number 6. Your 3rd place starter at the moment. Brian's in 11th position. The lights on the pace car expected to go up the next time around. Still 21 drivers on the lead lap. If you're tuning in now, you're going to want to tune in just a little bit later tonight, just past 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time for the final race on the evening and the final race on this entire week of racing with the Sim Auto Racing Association Fall Brawl. It is the main event, the super late model feature for the Brennigan.com Fall Brawl 250 from Five Flag Speedway on LSRTV and iRacing Live. That's the big money. Tonight, big money as well. It's an all late model back-to-back double feature. We're glad to have you with us. Linkowitz again, Andy, he decides, well, the outside lane the place to be. That'll put Ty Majeski once again down low for the restart.
Yeah, when you can control the restart as the leader can, choosing the outside is not a bad place to be. Definitely get the good run off the corner. You're less of a turn there, and he can really straight shoot it off, and there he goes right there. Green flag back in the air. Gets a pretty good jump with that 91 Majeski. He's hanging on tough. Wasn't able to stay underneath them right now, but the top 2, now top 3 have cleared the pack, and they're racing their way back into 3.
And he got the job done, and that is getting clear to turn 1. If you don't get clear, that guy on the bottom might be able to fight you for it, but if you are, that wide arc into the corner definitely gives you an advantage. So Linkowitz, he's 1 car length to the advantage. Battle for 4th on back, number 22, Joe Schaefer Jr., now 9th to 4th position. He's able to get around the number 4 machine of Wendell Stratton. Dave Riendo back in P6. At the moment, everybody's single filed up inside of the top 8. First battle on track sees the 63 of Hunter Combs. Outside looking in, Monster Energy Chevy falling backwards yet again.
And Ty Spearman was actually able to get past the number 65 of Mark Gamick. He's going to pick up 7th spot now. So that was another pass, but right now Hunter Combs is dropping like a rock, and that's not good to see in that car. They may need to, on this next caution here, or maybe when they come down pit road, take a big swing at the adjustments there to try and get that number 63 back up to the front.
Falling back in line will be Combs. He now hits 13th position, so we had said that he had a bad night. How about Todd Sipe, though, the number 25 machine? We had just talked about that he was back on row number 6 for that restart. He had some connection issues and has actually fallen out of the sim, receiving a throughput fall to an unacceptable level. Basically, in sim racing, he lagged out of the race, and he'll try to get it back on track, but even if he is able to do so, already 5 laps down. Todd Sipe for one of the faster cars here, top 3 in the qualifier sessions on Wednesday evening. His night will be a premature close. Kevin Berg continues his charge through the field. The Coors Light Chevy from 26th position. There's always one driver we've seen on Saturday one in every single class that starts way back and tries to move forward. Kevin Berg, the man doing it. That back and ninth, though, the battle for the race lead is on. The 91 of Ty Majeski to the inside of the racetrack. The 7 of James Linkowitz, Andy, not really forcing him down there, not pinching him. I think he knows the 91 is quicker. Problem going to be, when can that 7 find a spot in line? Because here comes Darrell Hamlin. The 36 has company behind him. 7 with a big run out of 4. Not enough, though.
No, it's not enough right now, and with that bottom line stacked up as it is, he needs to hope that somebody slips up and he can fall back in line. Linkowitz now still side by side with that 36. Hamlin doing a great job. He's not getting really, like you said, pinched down to the bottom, and Linkowitz has to do something here to get himself back in the line. He's doing a great job, though, on that outside line, able to hang tough as he's doing right now. He's still able to at least pull a nose out in front of the 36. He's doing everything he can, kind of a arc into the corner and trying to get a good run off the corner, trying to get some speed. But right now, still side by side for that battle for second. The 36, he's doing everything he can, but the 7 just too tough on that outside.
And they're not giving each other much room. I mean, it's lap 42 of 200, and that 7 machine pinching down the 36. Not the best handling car. To the outside wall goes James Linkowitz. The 36 is sideways. Somehow, though, both of those drivers hang on. They don't lose any spots to each other. Linkowitz will retain the number 2 spot. Hamlin still in 3rd. It's Schaefer, Stratton, and Riendo, who's under attack by the number 92 of Ty Spearman, wanting to pick up another trip to victory lane on the weekend. Started back at 8th position, slowly creeping his way forward. Looks like he'll have a small advantage on the 70 of David Riendo for P6 at the time. Other than that, though, single filed in front of him. And Ty Majeski, loving watching the fighting going on behind him, because the 91 almost a second now out in front.
Yeah, he was able to use that battle, though the second and third place were side by side. They couldn't keep up with Majeski, and now Majeski's put a huge gap on the field now and has a big old lead right now. But looks like the 4 of Wendell Stratton got a little loose coming out of 4, and that's going to allow Ty Spearman to catch up to him and maybe put some pressure on that number 4. So Ty Spearman, he's looking to maybe pick up another spot here.
And he sits just behind that 4 of Stratton. Stratton, one of the better cars tonight, although he has dropped the spot from the start of the race. You see the 4 machine to the bottom of the racetrack, and it looked like he was actually going to let Spearman go, and the 92 does get clear eventually. I was going to say an unconventional place to let somebody go, but it looks like maybe that's what that 4 car is doing. Either that or the handling just really going away, but it is going to be the 92 of Spearman. He does get that spot, so does David Riendo, so they jump up 2 more positions at the moment. Your pole sitter, though, James Linkowitz, at the moment is not faster than Ty Majeski. They're pretty even. They stay deadlocked at about 9/10 of a second of differential. That time by 2 100ths to the good for the driver of the 91. Pass for position just behind them. The 22 of Joe Schaefer Jr., the Emerald Design Gentry. He gets around the Amp Energy machine behind him. Hamlin drops back to P4. Schaefer now up 6 spots. He's on a podium.
Yeah, it was a great job right there by the 36 of Hamlin. He just realized the 22 was faster than him. He pulls up the track, lets him go, realizes this isn't the time or place. We got tons and tons of time to go here. 150 laps still to go in this one, so a lot of time to make up ground, but you don't want to lose any more time to the leader, so you might as well not battle out right now. Plus, they still have a little bit of a gap, about 8 car lengths now back to Spearman. Well, we got caution again on the speedway.
I was just about to say we go quarter distance with just 1 yellow. Ryan Borges, though, big problem for the driver that was fastest in the practice session, running in 16th position, well off and on his own, and it's going to be a self-spin in turn number 4. The car brakes sideways. He spins around in front of the racetrack, and it's a couple of guys trying to get around him. He pulls down the hill. He gets hit by the 1 of Alex O'Brien. O'Brien up the hill, collecting Dale Owen. Owen goes up and over on his lid, and for the second time tonight, the big impact comes post-secondary as that 29 machine ends up right side wrong. You'll take a look at the LSRTV replay now. Big accident, though, will slow us down right at the quarter distance, Cisco.
Yeah, and we talked about just in that last caution how dangerous these secondary cautions are, and sure enough, we saw it strike yet again here. But it's really just the visibility on this track. It's not the greatest. The visibility out of these cars is not the greatest. But it just goes to show you got to be paying attention there. Maybe keep an eye on that relative spot. But that number 29 in Dale Owen immediately came over the radio and was not happy at all about that.
And you would imagine so. So this slows us back down quarter distance, and Gabriel still not to the point where our leaders are taking a look at the pit lane. A lot of guys down pit road that time, including the driver that we were talking about upside down for the 29 of Dale Owen. He's on the virtual tow back down to you, but other than that, our leaders, it's still well too early for them to be really thinking about much tire-wise.
Yeah, from the data I looked at, you can get about 100 laps, 110 laps on a tank of fuel, so it's really not beneficial for these guys to pit before halfway. And plus, I mean, you could come down if we didn't have the tire rule, but these guys only have to play with 4 tires, so you're going to see a lot of different strategy calls coming around halfway.
Couple of guys going to get set to take a wave by. Ian Lane in the Dogecoin machine going to get waved by when the lights go off on the pace car. He'll be 18 out of 18 drivers on the lead lap. Out of the 26 that have started this race, Alex O'Brien is 2 laps down. So is Ryan Borges. Dale Owen 3 laps at a negative. Paul Fugate with some problems. The 44 is 6 laps down. Eric Spencer 18 laps down, rather, in 23rd spot. And then you got Todd Sight, Brian Thompson, and Cody Thompson, 3 drivers who have already got a DNF.
Something interesting I found, Dale Owen came over the radio just now and said he didn't know the yellow was out. And I find that a little bit interesting because this isn't a NASCAR Sprint Cup track. So therefore, they don't have the caution lights on the side of the track there. And we do get the yellow flag that pops up in the display, but apparently he had no idea the yellow was out here.
And I think a problem for him, too, was Ryan Borges, at least on my end, and again, the fun part of sim racing is it's different for everybody else, but it looked like that Borges may have been having some small connection issues. That could as well have attributed to it. Meanwhile, up front, though, we get set to get back rocking and rolling. The pace car down and away, and it's Majeski. He elects to take the high side. He'll clear James Linkowitz down to turn 1 for the first time tonight. Darrell Hamlin hangs on to 3rd. It'll be Schaefer in 4th. 92 of Spearman wants to challenge. He won't do it into turn 3. Majeski, though, with a picture-perfect start.
Yeah, he did definitely a nice short track start right there. Slowed everybody way up and then just took off. So great job by him on that restart. Gets him back into the lead. Spearman, though, doing a great job getting around David Riendu right now. That's going to move him up into the fifth position now. So Spearman doing everything up to the front. We've seen him fast all week long. Now he's got a chance to get himself up here and maybe possibly battle for this win here before too long.
Past quarter distance, starting to get to the point in the race where guys coming from the back are starting to make their moves. The top 7 had been drivers that started top 10 up until now. Kevin Berg with a pass on the number 4 of Wendell Stratton. Stratton going to lose a couple of spots. He loses to the 99 who started in 26th. Mark Gamet started in 10th, and Stefan Marinak started in 13th position. So Hunter Combs as well trying to make a move. The 63 coming from the front row, but it is by far and large Kevin Bird, the biggest runner so far, 26 to 7th. He obviously has that $5 bonus for the hard charger on his mind after having to start from a provisional. And it's always interesting again because he was 21st fastest in practice. This isn't a guy, Cisco, where he's a very fast car in practice. A guy like Ryan Borges, who was the fastest but couldn't break the top 15. He was only 21st best in practice, started at the back, but in race trim, he's absolutely flat flying. Does have a good challenge behind him, though. Mark Gamet can make it fun for 7.
Yeah, and we've seen all throughout the weekend, both in the street stocks and the SKs, and even a little bit in the super trucks, Kevin Berg was the only guy who I think had the absolute drive to grab that absolute bottom line. He's the only guy I've seen through the whole weekend to pass people on the bottom line. He was able to do it here to grab that 7th spot. Now he's starting to catch up to that kind of big pack up in front with Davey Riendu up there, and he's still under fire from Mark Gamek. But Gamek not putting up a big enough fight right now, as it looks like he's going to slide a little bit up the track, but not enough for Gamek to get a nose in. So I'd say keep an eye on that 99 as the race gets. Ooh, he got a little sideways there, but keep an eye on that 99 as the race goes on.
36 of Darrell Hamlin running in 3rd spot for a lot of this race, past and through quarter distance. The Amp Energy machine, though, a little bit of a bobble, and he falls back now to 5th. Andy, after that car got shuffled out to the top side.
Yeah, he did as we ride on right now on the bumper of the 99 of Kevin Berg. Kevin Berg trying to hold off that 65. Moves up the track just a little bit, but here comes Mark Gamek now. All over his back bumper here. Great battle going on for that 7th spot. Gamek had nowhere to go right there. Kind of pushes up the track. Almost looked like he was faster on the entry of the corner. He's going to tuck his nose right, though, under the back bumper of the 99 as they exit turn number 4 again. Just ahead of these guys, though, David Riendu He gets around the 36. 36 looks like he's falling back real quick right now. The handling definitely going away from Daryl Hamlin.
He was going forward on those fresh tires. Now that they start to get almost 70 laps on them, he starts to fall back to where he started this race in 7th, now back to P6 after running inside of the top 3 early in this one. That means Berg, the next driver behind him, but again, the 99 can't be going forward if that 65 behind him is all over him. And you saw from that bumper cam, I mean, he is right on top of a couple of guys, excluding, we talked about Borges having some connection issues as well for Todd's side. Wendell Stratton, some small problems for the driver of the 4 machine, who now finds himself back in 11th after he went topside, and that freight train was relentless for another guy that has been top 5 all night, now outside the top 10.
Yeah, he just kind of got shuffled back there. I think the connection issue did slow him down a little bit as he's under fire right now from the number 58 of Jason Williams. But Kevin Berg still trying to lead that kind of train up towards the main pack as we see the 36 of Daryl Hamlin start to fall back into the clutches of Kevin Berg and Mark Gavick. So it'll be interesting to see, can those two get around the 36 and may put up a fight for people like Davey Ariendo and James Lankowitz and Joe Schaefer Jr. But right now, Ty Majeski is still flying out there as our leader.
And slowly by slowly, he inches forward, now 1.2 seconds in front of the gap, as you said, for second on back. And that is a good fight on the racetrack. Joe Schaefer Jr. from 9th position, trying to take second away from your pole sitter in James Linkowitz. Battle inside the top 10, rather, just outside of the top 5. The 65 machine, Mark Gamick, he was pounded and pounded on the back of the 99. Figuratively, though, haven't seen anybody really start giving a bumper to each other. And finally, he's able to make that move. And for the first time tonight, I think Kevin Berg loses a spot now back in 8th.
Yeah, he put a lot of pressure on the 99 of Kevin Berg right there. And Kevin Berg just finally said, all right, you know what, just go. He pulled up the track just a bit. 65 took advantage of it. Now Berg has a mirror full of Marinac right now because that 26 car, he's been pretty fast, pretty consistent here in the early going. So running all these guys, running in the top 10, trying to get everything they can, and always all of these guys shooting for that midway point because you know they're all screaming for tires at this point.
The number 32 of Ryan Borges, fastest in practice, again, was that incident in turn number 4, set to make his iRacing.com Pro Series preview on Tuesday for his first start. Right now in 19th position, 4 laps down, heavily damaged, has not had a very good weekend campaign, as he is well out of that fight. Fight for second still on, and you got to think the 7 Linkowitz, although he's your pole sitter, maybe a little bit slower, because when they start to stack up behind you, it means you're a little bit slower. The 22's been all over him. Now, though, Ty Spearman joins the party. This forces Joe Schaefer Jr. to make the pass or get past. They work around some lap traffic. The 73 machine up topside, going to lose a lap.
And Schaefer, we've seen him strong throughout the weekend. So we know he's got a pretty good car in that number 22 machine. And right now, Ty Spearman also keeping up with them. So like you said, a little bit of stack up here. So Schaefer's going to be looking to maybe kick the 7 on the outside. Spin on the spin looks like in the front stretch here, so that's going to bring the caution out. Evan, you got a car number?
Couple of guys around. It's Daryl Hamlin. The number 36 is turned around. We had just talked about he was starting to lose the handle on that race car. Made a lot of headway actually going forward. Started in 7th and just lost it. And it actually, I think the lap traffic, a small factor in it. Eric Spencer, well topside, but Daryl Hamlin may not have taken his regular arc into the corner. You'll take a look at the LSRTV replay now. 36 goes into the turn, bobbles it, steps up the hill, it gets sideways, and he did a good job of hanging on to it for as long as he could, but once he came back down the track, he hits the 70, bounces back up, takes out the 65. The 99 of Kevin Berg, guys, fastest car maybe all night long up to the field. He's in the outside wall. Somehow Hunter Combs finds a way through, but that's at least 4 of your top 10 drivers involved in that accident.
Yeah, and a couple guys, Evan, just got, I was watching the 26 car, Stefan Mir, and I could go through there, and I just, almost like the seas got parted for him. One lucky driver right there. He's able to continue on. I don't think he got touched, but I'm very shocked that he didn't, because he came right through all that mess right there on the front stretch and did a good job hanging on to that.
And back under the caution flag we go, past, or close it in now on the halfway point, but past the 1/3 distance in the Pro Lane Auto feature. We'll step away for a brief moment and back for the restart. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the SARA Fall Brawl Spectacular Emerald Designs 200.
guys.
We welcome you back live to the virtual Five Flag Speedway with a restart on tap with 115 laps to go. The Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200. Ty Majeski, since taking over, has dominated. Control car topside as the green flag flies and back underway we go. 91 to the inside of the racetrack, no problem, clearing James Linkowitz. The fight back for fourth on back. It's going to be for third in the first fight. 22 on the bottom of the racetrack. Schaefer trying to make a move on Spearman. He'll get a good run in 3 and 4. Slide up topside. Clears him 22 to third.
That was a great move right there. I thought for a second there Spearman had something for him on that outside. Wasn't able to happen. Top guys now, single file. Here comes Spearman now looking to the inside of the 22. Joe Schaefer pushes him up to the track, up the track. Now the 92 has that preferred line as they head back into turn 1.
And that leaves that 22 topside. He just got the pass, but if that car pushes up off the corner a little bit early, everybody's swinging it out to the fence to get the run they can, the dive they can into the next corner. But if you push up a little bit too early, that bottom is wide open, and Spearman, without a doubt, could have pounced on that. So the 92 machine ducking back to the inside of the racetrack. He wants to make a fight for it in the 4S Sign and Supply Company of Gaffney, South Carolina entry. Making the move, not quite clear though. 22 keeps the nose up top. At this point, though, for Schaefer, might be a better idea to just have backed off of that and get in line. He's not giving up, though, in the 92 machine, but I think Spearman slowly inching forward. 22 realizes it, and he'll drop down in line, doing so before anybody else can get to the bottom on him, because that 65 of Gamick was not all that far behind.
And we talked about it in the Super Truck race, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. The top 4 are all Posse cars. So once again, it looks like the Posse has started their stranglehold yet again here in the Pro Late models as they're taking over the top 4 spots here. So we know that team was strong in the Super Trucks, and they're putting out a huge, strong, just a big, strong running here tonight. And Ty Majeski leading those guys. He's going to have about 6/10 on James Linkowitz in second.
And I can't say that I'm surprised either, because these guys have brought the best trucks, the best cars to the racetrack this whole week. And when they go under the lights and it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they know how to drive these race cars. Go on board with the number 22. That's Joe Schaefer Jr. Took over third on the restart, then lost it. Find himself in fourth spot right now. The 92 machine is just in front of him for Ty Spearman. He's in front of Gamick, and that 65 machine looks like it's been through the ringer behind him. The 22, though, in a pretty good spot. Top 2 fastest in practice. Started back on row number 4 in this race. Actually, row 5, he was on the inside in P9. Running a strong race. The car's still clean, and soon he's going to catch Ty Spearman, apply the pressure. Almost at the halfway point, and once we start counting up and we start counting down, these guys flip a switch and they'll really start to go at it. So if you want to make up a lot of spots, do it so before everybody loses their mind, Andy. That would be my suggestion.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just behind these guys as we're watching Stefnek, Marinex, pushed up the track there in 3 and 4. That allowed the 58 of Jason Williams to get around him. So a little bit of a handling issue, I think, right there for the 26 car, but he was able to get back in line and not lose any more position. So a little bit of trouble right there for him. But 58 of Jason Williams, move him up to 6. He's going to try and get that 5th spot away from Mark Gamick here soon.
The 92 machine taking a look on the number 7. This would be for the number 2 spot on the racetrack. Nothing quite yet at the moment, but you see those top 3, all the posse behind them. It is the Explosive Motorsports guys trying to break into the picture. That 22 is Schaefer in P4. Behind him, you have the number 65 machine, just a couple more spots back. Another Explosive Motorsports machine. So right now, the posse versus Explosive. Posse with the upper hand right now, and Linkowitz slowly again beginning to lose time to the number 92 machine as well, though Majeski pulling away, but it's not like Majeski's leaving these guys. A second is a lot of time, but he's getting it by doing 300ths of a second per lap, 200ths of a second per lap. It's just that little bit more experience, that little bit extra consistency that's giving the advantage to Majeski. So a guy like Ty Spearman, who's catching James Linkowitz, who really isn't all that slow, these guys are pretty much on an equal pace as the 92 looks to the inside. 7 machine stuck topside. 92 going to get it just though, as problems on the racetrack. Caution flag will fly. 2 drivers into the fence, and for the second time in a row, the 99 machine of Kevin Berg is involved. He's into the inside fence, and he found himself contact with the 30 car. He gets together in the middle of the quarter with Scott Dunlap. They'll collect Daryl Hamlin and Jeff Hogard.
Yeah, it looked like they just wasn't aware that he was down there right now. But pit road's open, and right at that halfway point, the leaders are heading your way, Gabe.
Here they come, every single one of the leaders. Ty Majeski's going to pull into his pit box along with the 7 car. Looks like Majeski hasn't even taken tires yet. Here goes the right side of the car up. I think most of these guys are going to be taking all 4 tires. We've run a lot of laps in this race. We're going to see who's going to win the race off pit road, full of fuel. Hopefully these guys can make it to the end of the race.
And it's going to be 4 tires for Majeski, 4 tires for the number 4 machine. First driver off of the pit lane in all of that is Daryl Hamlin. 36, quite the torn-up race car. I believe if he even took tires, it would have been right sides only, but it looks like it could have been just a fuel-only stop for the number 36 Monte Carlo Super Sport. Back out on track, just a 10-second 52 pit stop. Not a whole lot of time. These things take quite the amount of time to get the tires changed. They take a little bit longer than you would expect to get them fueled up. So a long pit stop. Majeski, though, on 4 tires makes the strategy easy. You're halfway through, you get fresh tires, and now that car, in theory, should handle like it did in those first 100 laps for these next 95 or so.
Yeah, and
it looks like... Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cisco. I was just noticed 36 coming back down pit road, so possibly going to get the rest of his service complete on that machine, probably trying to get some damage fixed also. So 36 trying to do what he can to get himself situated to run the second half of this race.
I was about to say the same thing you are. I think he looked in his mirror and saw everyone else take 4 and went, ooh, that may not have been a good call, and came back down and got the rest of his tires. But one of the tough things we see here on pit road, you don't have a number board here, unlike what you would have in like in the trucks and the upper tier vehicles. So it might be hard to maybe miss your pit stall if you haven't been down there. So maybe watch out. A couple people might have rolled through their box a little bit, and that'll shake up the standings here. But the posse taking over the top 3 right now. But looks like for the most part everyone made it through pit road. I think the biggest gainer right there was Jason Williams in the 58. He's up to 9th now.
And we mentioned yesterday that on a racetrack where the caution laps are just 38 seconds, if you have damaged, you're going to need a lot of pit stops to get that thing fixed, because you can't spend a whole lot of time down there getting it repaired. So the pace car ducks down and away, lane stays out, comes back down to the pit lane. So Majeski, 4 tires back off and away. Green flag flies, and now 95 laps to go at the 5 flag speedway. Ty Majeski back to the top spot. It's still Linkowitz in second, and these two have been going at it for third for quite some time. Spearman down low, it's Schaefer topside behind them, fighting for P number 6. Stratton on behind the battle with the 26 of Stefan Marinac. Marinac is able to get around Hogard.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Hogard at all this race long, but now here he is. I think he only took 2 tires on that stop, and it's definitely starting to show as he's falling back. As Spearman able to get around the 22 now. The 22 not going to let him get out of his sight. Schaefer, Oliver's back bumper through 1 and 2. The 4, the 26, they're all lined up coming off down the back straight.
Bratton trying to get back forward. We talked about the 4 machine. One of the drivers that was strong in those first 50, slower in the back 50 of the opening half of this race on fresh tires. He tries to make his way back forward into P5 at the moment. How about Stefan Marinak, though? You'll see him a lot of the time in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, a lot of RSR stuff here, ITS Racing as well, over number 26 Mach 1 graphics entry, P6 at the moment. He's kind of been lingering there all night long from 13th position, running at his highest at the moment. And then Mark Gamick, we talked about the driver that was blowing these guys out of the water. 65 is still fast, but with a car that almost looks like the SK Modified featured last night, not sure how much he can continue to do inside the top 10.
Yeah, and that'll just be a gradual thing. It is a short track, so you don't have to worry about aerodynamics a whole lot, but you know, he's not going to be able to run those 100% speeds he was running in practice and qualifying, so every little bit hurts. So, you know, as I guess we'll see right now, is the biggest battle I'm seeing on the track is for that 3rd spot with Ty Spearman under attack from the 22 of Joe Schaefer Jr. That's a big old battle right there going on.
Still 15 cars on the lead lap at the moment. A little bit going on outside the top 10 as they try to mix things up. But again, the story is Ty Majeski is fast now. Can you beat Ty Majeski? One of the drivers that has competed in all 5 races this weekend. If you race the SKs, the street stocks, the trucks last night, and the pro late models now, and the super late models later on tonight, you can win a 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series ticket package to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the driver who competes in all 5 feature races this weekend and has a total accumulated finish number. Majeski well in the hunt for that, however, not making every single start. So a couple of guys behind there, Linkowitz and Spearman, in good spots in that regards as well. Though 2nd and 3rd, you're still walking away with part of that $220 payout. They don't want Majeski to beat them, though, for a second time this week.
No, you don't want them. You want the win. I mean, these are the fall brawl. You want to get yourself up there in the record books and in the victory lane. So these guys are going to have to do what they can. But we've seen it all night long now. That 91, Majeski's just been really solid, real consistent all race long. But right now under this run, and I'm not sure if it's just Majeski, but the field's starting to stack up and catch up to him. And we got a lot of fast cars, a lot of good things, and a good battle right now for 3rd, heating up. The 22 is Schaefer looking at the inside of Spearman off of 3rd, too.
And it'll be a drag race down the backstretch. The 92 uses the banking top side to pull back alongside, but with the lap traffic up top, 3 wide, the 92 out of room, ducks to the inside. Stratton dives bottom just in enough time to be able to give that number 92 of Spearman enough room. Spearman should probably be in the fence somehow. They avoid that contact. It does hurt, though, the 92. The 65 of Gamick going to get clear. It looks like they'll be able to drop down in front of the 58 machine. So Jason Williams from 15th spot to 8th, now inside of the top 10. Going to be the first driver that leaves enough of a gap for the 92 to drop down. Close call. They make it through. That going to continue as we continue to have guys slowly fall off at a lead lap. 15 drivers still there. Quite a few guys out there with damaged race cars. 2 guys right now fighting for the lucky dog are Russell Perry and Kevin Berg, guys that were quick early. You'll see them out on the racetrack as well, but for the most part, those lap cars stay high. That's cool and all because they're staying out of the way, but sometimes if you're staying high, coming out of the corner, that's a bad spot for your race leaders to catch somebody at.
Yeah, and we saw it there coming through the front stretch. I'm pretty sure Ty Spearman needs a new driver's suit after that one. That was really close, and some great driving by everyone involved there. But right now, he's all the way back in 7th now as he got dropped basically from 3rd. And as we see the lap car, the 73 machine of Eric Spencer going to start dropping back right now. Looks like Majeski's starting to lose the lead that he had on Lankowitz. And as the lap traffic gets worse and worse, that lead's going to just start shrinking.
So Schaefer made a move to 3rd. Now he wants to make a move to 2nd, and Linkowitz only half a second behind Majeski. Again, he's not a whole lot slower than the man that's clearly the fastest car here, but these guys are just so close in speeds, as they have been all week long. Some of the best on short track sim racing here tonight, that you can just see that maybe a couple, maybe 1/100th of a second, 2/100ths of a second per lap is the difference between that 7 Linkowitz holding the gap and that 22 of Schaefer applying the pressure. Because they're so close, the 22 not just going to be able to drive to the inside. The 7 Linkowitz knows that probably he's just a little bit slower. As a driver, you don't want to be looking in the rear of your mirror. Realistically, though, you know that that guy is there. So the 22 machine, not going to be easy. Trouble right in front of these guys, though. It's out of turn number 4. The 91 of Ty Majeski, your race leader. He's got to get way out of the gas, and I think he's got damage from this after problems in front of your race leader. Ian Lane with a self-spin in the Dogecoin Chevrolet in front of Ty Majeski, your race leader. Evasive action. The 98, the one that spins. That 91 jumps high, and Ty Majeski smacks the wall trying to avoid it. Major implications there for your race leader, and because of that accident, Majeski down to the pit lane. That's going to be a tow to the pit lane. It looks like his night may be done.
And it's another one of those secondary cautions we talked about. You know, the 98, if he had just been able to spin there and this track was made a little smaller, Majeski might have had time, but Majeski was right there in that lap traffic and had basically nowhere to go. And just like that, the fastest car on the track, he might be done for the night.
Minimum, it'll be the virtual tow to the pit lane, Andy. Either you plow into the guy or you turn the wheel to the right and hope that you avoid him. He chose option B, and it's still a pretty good lick. He took the tow down to the pit lane, and, you know, we just said that lap guys trying to stay out of the way, but if you catch somebody on corner exit, this racetrack, it's very wide in racing terms. When there's a car sideways in the middle of the packet, I mean, that happened right in front of him. He hits the car, he hits the fence. Ty Majeski looked like he was a shoo-in to walk away with the $45 for winning this race. Now he's in an accident, and that car now is just being pushed behind the wall out to the pit area. I believe Ty Majeski's night may be done.
Yeah, it's unfortunate right there. We've seen it in a few races up here in some other leagues over the last couple months that lap traffic definitely plays a huge role in these races, especially the longer the races are, because that just means there's more cars with damage. There's a lot slower cars. You got a huge field like we do here tonight. So basically, once the green flag drops, you just get a lot of cars around the track at all times, and it happens quickly. And we talk, you know, racing terms, yeah, there's a couple grooves at this place, but man, this happens so quickly here. One little mistake by somebody and you literally have no time to react. And right there, unfortunate for the 91. Had a great race car, a good chance to pull this thing off. Really didn't have anybody, it seemed, that could contend with him for the win. So right now he's obviously out. And this just opens a door now for these top 5 guys right now that have been battling each other hard for that second, third, and fourth position. And now they're going to be the ones battling for the win.
Yeah, that pit road wall is right up against that white line on the inside of the racetrack from turn 4 to turn 1. These guys have been pinching each other down so much. We've had guys taking out the pit road exit cone under green flag conditions because they are so low to the white line. Does this open up the door for James Linkowitz? Linkowitz, though, wasn't all that comfortably in second. What can he do now? The 7 going to choose the inside lane for the restart. Green flag flies. Back underway we go. This time, 68 laps to go for the 5 Flag Speedway. 7 car clear for the race lead. Linkowitz takes it over. Problems, though, back in the pack in turn 1. Everybody slows down to avoid it. Way off pace, top side, the 92 of Ty Spearman. He got hit in the left side by the 58. Somehow, though, they hang on.
Great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, somehow the caution didn't come out right there. Just a huge mess, and we get the replay up right now. Just the 58 got into the 92 just a bit right there, and those guys still obviously no caution, so tough break, losing a lot of time on the track right there for that one, but they were able to keep it straight. We're still under a green flag, and now we got a 3-way battle for that lead.
In the top 3, trying to pull away. They're 0.6 of a second, Cisco, in front of Gamek, Marinac, Williams, Hogard, and company. But as I said, Linkowitz, he was not much that slower than Ty Majeski. Ty Majeski was the fastest car here, yes. Should he probably be leading and winning this race? Yes. But the 7, again, the gap between those two was only maybe 2 or 1/100th of a second per lap. So these guys still almost equally as fast. And Schaefer, he was all over the back of the 7. I have a feeling, though, the 22, he'll get a lot more physical if he needs to, now that this fight is for P1 instead of P2. Took Meek to the inside that time, nothing. What he needs is a good run off the corner. Thinks about it again. The 7, though, won't open it up.
And I find myself flashing back to the street stock race. Linkowitz came away with the victory, and when we were talking to him in victory lane, he said he had his teammates up there with him, and they were able to get these starts, whereas his teammates were able to get to that bottom line the leader would take the outside, and the inside would let him drop in. So now Linkwitz is a man on his own. You know, Ty Majeski's out, and Ty Spearman is out. So he's kind of on his own now. Stu gets into him and spins him sideways there. 7 able to hang on. Great drive by him, but that 22's ready to get grab the race lead here.
The 22 just about knocked our camera off as you rode on board the back bumper of that 7 of Linkowitz. I did say they might get a little bit more physical now that they're fighting for the top spot on the line instead of second. Still 60 laps to go at the Five Flag Speedway. I say still 60, Andy. That's a lot of sets of quarters. That's 120 times you'll take a peek to the inside on somebody. However, time-wise, that will go by very quickly for these guys after pitting at the halfway point. They're good on fuel. They've got all the tires that they can. What you got is what you got. You got to race with it. 22 starting to get greedy. Left side tires on the white line. A little bit squirrely down the back straightaway. He'll hang on to it. The gap stays at just 1 car length.
Yeah, it does. And somebody watching this battle going on right now is that 4 of Wendell Stratton. He's been kind of an up and down night. That first run there got a little out of the groove. It looked like he might have upset the tires. He fell way back, even outside the top 10 at one point. But here he is now with a pretty sweet looking car and 4 tires just like the rest of them, and he looks pretty sporty, pretty racy. They definitely made some good adjustments for him right now. As here we go, the 22 Schaefer looking to the inside. He's got a nose on the 7 right now off of turn number 4.
It'll be a drag race to the stripe at 56 laps to go. Still Linkowitz on the outside, just barely. However, Schaefer inside with the advantage. I think all weekend, maybe 3 drivers have been able to make a pass topside on somebody that's the same speed as them. Tonight, not going to be number 4. 22 slides up, shuts the door. New race leader at 55 laps to go. Joe Schaefer Jr. 22 gave the 7 a shot, and Linkowitz repays the favor. Back to the inside, he goes 4 car. Wants to look inside on the 7 though, and now contact for the race lead. Hanging on to it is Linkowitz. Schaefer still leads at a 4. Close call there with Stratton as they almost ended up 3 wide and just 2 car lengths of space.
And they should have been the fence about 3 different times there. Stratton's going to look to the inside again. He's actually going to get there this time. The 7 slammed the door on him last lap. Now the 4 of Wendell Stratton's going to get to the inside. Great racing up front here for the lead. And Joe Schaefer Jr. says, go right ahead, guys. I'll just pull away.
And the leader going to run away as they fight for that number 2 spot. The 4 to Stratton to the bottom. The 7's able to pinch him off, hold that door shut. And with that, now Schaefer 4/10 of a second out in front. 5/10 of a second out in front. He tries to grow at the 7. The 3 truck topside dropping back is Eric Spencer's number 73 Chevrolet. He'll fall back on the outside. Stefan Marinak, by the way, guys, if we've been watching the top 3, the 26 is up to 4th. How about Jason Williams, the Mad Speed Machine? Quiet all night, does have a damaged Chevrolet. He is now in 5th position. So as all of those posse machines up front began to drop back, a lot of guys taking advantage. Stratton makes the move for 2nd. Linkowitz tries to crossover again, though. Not enough power beneath the hood of that posse number 7 machine to get back up there. And now we find Joe Schaefer Jr. leading this race inside of the final 50 laps to go for Explosive Motorsports. Behind him is Wendell Stratton as well. Explosive Motorsports taking over and making a statement in the Pro Late Model feature.
Yeah, they're making a statement right now, and Schaefer Jr. doing a great job pulling away, maintaining that 0.8 of a second lead right now. The 4 car looks like he's having a little trouble pushing up the track on the entry of the corner. He's able to hang on to that 2nd spot right now over Linkowitz. Linkowitz, though, he's not done. He's all over that back bumper here off of turn number 2. He's going to try to take this away. He's just got to let these things cool off here, not overdrive it now, because you don't want to waste what you do have left on these tires right now. But Linkowitz, as the leader, starts to come back into lap traffic right now. The 22 is Schaefer. But Linkowitz right now, he's about a car length or 2 behind Wendell Stratton. Stratton, he's doing everything he can to try to catch that 22 car.
And Stratton starting to pull away as well. So the 7 again started from pole position, fell back early. Fresh tires gave the 7 some new life, but as you get to that 50 lap marker halfway through what has been a tire run on the evening, the 7 just can't keep it quite up there. And Stratton even keeping a pretty good distance to Schaefer. The gap between the top 2 on track, 1 second. That time by Schaefer will gain another 10th. And as you mentioned, lap traffic now going to be a big factor. Schaefer making a move on Ryan Borges, just past a couple of laps go. Dylan Schmidt, who now falls 4 laps down in the 97. If you're Schaefer, you saw what happened to Ty Majeski. That's your biggest concern right now. It's tough, depending on how these guys have their screen set up. If you're sitting in the car, you got the window net and your A-post on that left-hand side. We mentioned earlier in the weekend that at Five Flag Speedway, it's a night race. There's not a whole lot of lights down in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. It is difficult to see more than maybe 50 feet in front of you on the track. That has to be Schaefer's primary concern right now. He has the speed. He just needs to hope that the racing gods let it be.
Yeah, and right now he does have a little bit of a gap to that next lap car. That's going to be the number 30 of Scott Dunlap. I believe he's the last car on the lead lap right now. Yes, he is, that 30 machine. And then in front of him is going to be the 73. But Schaefer has about half a track or so about a corner now between him and the next lap car. So he has a little breathing room. He can go ahead and set to work and try and catch those guys. Meanwhile, the 4 of Wendell Stratton thinking the same thing. And he's going to put the foot down and maybe try and catch Schaefer if he can.
And as those lap cars fall back, things outside of the top 5 quite exciting. Hunter Combs, the number 63 Monster Energy entry. Again, another driver that was strong early, not that good on the old tires. This time doing pretty well. Mark Gamet going to drop another spot. So I say he drops another spot. Really, we've only been seeing him lose spots, but I mean, the damage on that car so much. I mentioned he kind of looks like one of the SKs, the 36 of Darrell Hamlin, same spot. Hamlin started top 10 and he was running top 10 all night, but Mark Gamet, I mean, he passed 16 cars in the opening 15 laps of this race. Did he have a car maybe to challenge the Schaefers, the Strattons, the Majeskis, and the other guys, Spearman, those kind of guys up front? Maybe not, but definitely a top 5 car. You get caught up in something that wasn't of your fault. That has been a big topic here at Five Flag Speedway, with a very wide racing groove, but tight when someone's sideways in front of the track. Solomon trouble in front of your race leader again. Schaefer is going to make it around, but are you kidding me? Almost gets taken out, and that was the exact same spot that Ty Majeski had his problem, and it's Joe Schaefer Jr. into turn number 4, and he lets out a collective sigh because Eric Spencer self-spin. That was literally exactly what happened to Majeski. Somehow, though, Schaefer gets around it.
Yeah, he did a great job right there. It was close, but yeah, we've seen it so many times that these lap cars just having trouble. I'm not sure if they're just getting nervous because they don't know the leader's coming or what the deal is, but right there, another leader having some close call, we'll say, with the 73 car, as you see him real self-spin right off the corner. But man, what a break right there for the 22, and we know that he's definitely breathing a sigh of relief right there as we get the caution this time, and we'll have 35 laps to go as of right now. So time's definitely running out on these guys, but this definitely gives the 4 car of Stratton the opportunity now to at least close the gap on the leader, and we'll see what he can do on this restart if he's got anything for that 22.
Evan, we mentioned it in the SK race. The whole idea, this is a progressive banking track, and you've been mentioning how low the light levels are in these corners here. If you take a look at turn 3 and 4, when the cars get back here, remember, there's not really a white line down there, and it could be some of these cars maybe catching the apron there. I mean, we saw it in the street stocks. Those cars were actually able to use the apron, but these cars, a lot more power and set up very differently. I don't think they can go down there, and that might be maybe a couple cars catching the apron. That might be what's bringing out these cautions.
And you can't see that apron because of where you're sitting on the hood, in front of you. You can't see that white line because it's so dark, because you can't see around the corner. That white line doesn't really show up until you get to the pit lane entry. I just can't believe that that's the exact same thing that happened to Ty Majeski. And maybe the difference is if that happens half a lap later, Andy, Schaefer's going to close in on those lap cars in front of him. That's the difference. Maybe 0.2 of a second later, and he's in that accident. But I mean, he came over the radio and he knew that he probably got away with one there because, I mean, we said it, he knows what happened to Ty Majeski. You got to watch out in front of you. Exact same spot on the racetrack. Thankfully for Schaefer, a different result. He stays out there, continues to lead this race, and now we get into a scenario like we saw in the Super Truck race last night where cautions could breed cautions inside of the final 35 laps in this one. If you're Schaefer, you're probably the fastest driver out there at the moment. He was pulling away on everybody else, but the key is you have to nail your restarts now.
Yeah, you have to nail your restarts. This is the time. This is basically the money time of the race. And there they go. The pace car's off. Green flag's back in the air. And look at Schaefer go. He pulls out 3 car lengths on that one right now.
Oh,
we got
contact
trouble
line and
right there. The
Stratton's
7
defense.
gets into the 4, and he puts him into the wall. So Linkowitz right there gets into the back of the 4 car. Might have been some kind of a connection issue there also, but right there, big wreck for the 4, into the wall hard into turn 1.
And I don't think that 7 saw the 4 car. What I see, the 7 goes into the corner, and the 4 machine, the 7's halfway through the 4 machine before Stratton gets out of line. If that 7 sees the 4, he just ran him over. But because of that connection problem for Stratton, guys, I don't think that 7 saw the 4 car at all. I think what you're seeing from, if you're James Linkowitz, the 4 car disappears, you go into the corner, he comes back on track when he's halfway inside of you, he gets sped out of line. If you're the 4, if everybody disappears on the track, the first thing you do, you lift. You're slower into the corner, you pop back on, and that guy that was right behind you now is that much further ahead. That's what happens. That's another product of sim racing. Connection problems have hit a couple of guys, taking them out of the race. This one, I think, put James Linkowitz at a spot where he did not see Wendell Stratton, and for Stratton, a great night go down the drain as he gets spit out and hard into the outside wall.
You know, we mentioned it earlier, Stratton was having a little bit of connection issues, and he got dropped back to, I believe, around the 9th position. And yet again, we saw it hit for Wendell Stratton, so a tough break for him. Like you always say, it's kind of our equivalent of a mechanical failure for Wendell Stratton, so that's going to end what was a really good night for him. But I want to take a look. He's running 5th right now. Jason Williams, we've barely talked about him tonight. He's not, you know, he isn't like a time Majeski or anything. He came in here, he's flying up there. And I mean, he was 16th, 15th, 16th at practice, 15th on a grid. He's flying up towards the lead right now.
And Schaefer in the catbird seat, but this still could go any direction. We'll step away for one final time, come back for the restart. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the SARA Fall Brawl Emerald Designs 200. The Pro Late Model feature going to be determined. The checkered flag less than 30 laps away.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
We welcome you back inside the virtual Five Flag Speedway. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Cisco Scaramuza along for the ride with you. Gabriel Wood down on the pit lane, and Laura Lawson in the production hauler. LSRTV bringing you to the end of the Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200. It is Schaefer topside. It is 26 laps to go at the home of the Snowball Derby. Over $200 on the line. Green flag flies, and back underway we go. This time for the bottom. Still works for the 22. He's the first car to turn 1. Linkowitz hard down to turn 2. He wants to pay him a message.
Oh, what a run he had right there through 1 and 2.
Oh.
Gives him a little shot there in 3 and 4. Coming off the corner now. Linkowitz, he's definitely says he's got something left for Schaefer here in the closing laps. Linkowitz closing in again off of turn number 2. The field, though, stacking up behind the 26 of Stefan Marinak. He's having, he got jumbled up right there. The 63 of Hunter Combs got into the back of him. So Hunter Combs started up front early, had some trouble in this race. Now he finds himself battling for the lead in the top 4, slowly starting to pull away from Spearman.
Low car on the bottom of the racetrack. The Ford of Stratton is slowed, though. Caution flag is out. Somebody else on the racetrack problems. The number 58 machine of Jason Williams going to push up the hill in the turn. Gets a little bit checked up. The 65 into the back of him. And Williams goes for a ride. Single car accident. Caution flag is back out. And you know, we can talk about that accident, but let's talk about the race lead, guys. Joe Schaefer Jr. You take a look at the replay. Joe Schaefer Jr. is the fastest driver here right now. I think Linkowitz just being generous because the right side of that car's bented, so he wants to just make it even on the left side. But I think the 7, if he is going to pass him, he's going to have to move him. and he knows that his best chance to move somebody without pulling the Matt Kenseth is to get him on the restart, because you don't got to drive it in as hard. So if the 7 wins this race, it'll be from the bump and run. Linkowitz is going to do the exact same thing this restart also. I think that's his only shot.
Yeah, it probably is his only shot. And when you talk about short track racing, sometimes that is your only shot. Preferably on these short tracks, the bottom line's the preferred line. If your car's decent enough, can hold some decent speed on the bottom, and you're able to protect that bottom side, there's really nothing else the guy right behind you can do except give you a little bump and run. So that far, as far as not maybe putting them into the wall, we might see a nice little bump and run maybe for the lead and a pretty good battle here. But that was a great restart that Linkowitz was able to do right there on that last time around. So if he can time that restart just as well this time, we could have ourselves a dandy of a battle here for the lead.
And it'll be with inside of 20 laps to go all the way through the end of this one. The SARA Fall Brawl, you're taking a look at feature race day number 2. It's race day number 7. And tonight's Fall Brawl 200 for the Pro Late Model feature presented by Emerald Designs, providing affordable and customized high-quality graphics for your motorsports needs, including paint scheme designs, logos, hero cards, and more. Schaefer, again, he wants the inside of the racetrack. Best thing that can happen for him, Stefan Marinak, the Mach 1 Racing Graphics Chevrolet, from 13th to 3rd. If that 26 gets a nose on the inside of the 7, that is the best news that Schaefer can see. That's exactly what he wants, because if Linkowitz gets in line, he might have to put that nose to work like he did the last time, and it might not be a little bit as generous. Every single restart, that tap going to get harder and harder, and it'll give him 1 or 2 more every time also.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute battle here if Linkowitz can get to that inside, but he's hoping he can get to that inside, and right now, Joe Schaefer's just hoping, please let Stefan Marinak get behind me, because otherwise, this is, I don't want to say it's going to be a brawl, but we might see a brawl here.
And that would be quite the fitting way for this Fall Brawl 200 presented by Emerald Designs to go into the books. The pace car going to get down, 18 to go. Schaefer on the loud pedal, green flag flies, and look at the restart down low. Linkowitz caught sleeping topside. Is that the final nail in the coffin for the driver of the 7? Marinak gets the second of the 26. Not that good inside of turns 1 and 2. And Linkowitz will get clear for second. Problem is now he's 2-3 car lengths back from the top spot. Schaefer set sail.
He does set sail now through 1 and 2. The 26 right there, Marinak kind of stacking up the field right behind him. Here comes the 7, though. Linkowitz is trying to close the gap, but Schaefer, he's definitely put the pedal down on this one, on this restart. Definitely caught him sleeping on the restart. Now you got to battle for the second spot. Here comes Marinak now to the inside of the 7. He's going to pinch him down, though. Linkowitz pinching him down. He's not going to give it up easy as they head back into 3.
Oh, and close on the left rear, no contact, maybe a little bit, but that 7, he looked like he went up the hill at a 4 like Marinak tagged him. They didn't touch each other. That's that 7, though, just giving it a little bit too much, and at this point, Schaefer gone. The guys second on back need another yellow if they want to get back at him. Problem is they don't want to be the yellow, and Marinak fighting tooth and nail down low. 7 not giving him much more than 6 inches to spare. 3 wide now, lap car topside. They'll do it in the widest part of the racetrack, and Stefan Marinak to second. 7 comes down. It's contact with Hunter Combs. 63 sideways to the apron. He'll save it, and more contact for second as Linkowitz puts the bumper to the 26 car.
And maybe a little hesitation as the caution comes out now. Looks like the 73 of Eric Spencer got turned around there. Contact with the 29, it looks like. What caused that one?
And that was that 73 that was 3 wide on the top. Hunter Combs just making his way back through the field. 4 wide, the 65's got to make an adjusted line off the corner to not get into the back of him. He comes up, and it's just a bad timing to find yourself 3 wide. Clips that 29 machine, and it's the 29 who goes topside. Dale Owen gets into Gamick, and the 73 machine gets turned around. It's Eric Spencer into the inside wall. So caution flag back out. we reset, and we'll do it all over again. This time, though, with less than 10 laps to go at the Five Flag Speedway. And Schaefer may have gotten lucky with that one, because now Linkowitz needs to do what Marinak did to him last time, and that is get a good restart. The control car on these has the ability to go, Andy, from when the pace car hits pit road to when they exit the restart box out of the front straightaway when the sim actually drops the green flag. That gives you about 4 or 5 seconds. I think Schaefer is only varied by maybe half a second. He's going the instant that pace car is down, and because they're powering up basically still in turn 3, the inside has a huge advantage in that regard.
Yeah, he does. And you know what, though? The thing with these restarts are also, too, Evan, is you gotta watch out for that on the short track, especially. These leaders like to sometimes mix it up, and we talked about him really just kind of just hammering it as soon as the pace car's off. But you know, switching it up, we've seen it before in other short track races, really slowing the field down and then going. So it's going to be interesting. Does he mix it up a little bit, does something different on this, and maybe catch everybody sleeping, or is he just going to go for it? But the big question is if the 7 can get the exact restart he needs to do exactly what Schaefer does, clear that 26, and we might have ourselves a little battle as far as beating and banging going down into turn 1 on this restart.
And do have to note that there is no overtime in this series. There's no overtime in the iRacing service. So lap number 200 will bring us to the end. Joe Schaefer Jr. in a spot that will go back green with about 7 or 6 laps to go. If we get a caution before we take the final 5 laps, do have the probability of going back green for a 1 or 2 lap shootout. If we get 3 laps in off of this restart, Cisco, that means that this race would end with the checker and the yellow together. So for Stefan Marinak, he wants to get down in the second. It's the highest he's been all night. But if you're James Linkowitz and you plan on putting the bumper to somebody, you can't wait 2-3 laps to do it. You've got to go for it. Lights on the pace car are off. Here we go.
Yeah, this is just going to be, it's all going to come down to this. This is probably going to be the last restart we're going to have. This is going to be the one that matters. So Linkowitz is going to have to get one heck of a jump if he hopes to get that back bumper in the 22 car.
The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road. The 22 on the inside of the racetrack. When does he decide to go? Right away on the loud pedal. Green flag flies in. Back and away we go from the Five Flag Speedway. Linkowitz cleared for second. Marinak to the inside. Battle for fourth behind him. It's to the inside. The 36 of Darrell Hamlin. He wants it from the car behind him in the number 36 as well. The 92 is Spearman topside for the race lead. There's the shot. Linkowitz hard into turn number 4. He gives him a shot. Caution flag flies behind him as the leaders go at it, and it's a big accident.
Yeah, that's a huge accident right there. The 36 involved. Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 cars that got involved in that one right there. Just got spun, and somebody came in and finished them off there and put them inside that pit wall on the inside of the racetrack right there. And this is pace car came out pretty quick there, Evan. So like you talked about, if they get this thing right, we might have a 1-lap shootout, but it's going to happen pretty quick.
And the cameras were on that battle, so you saw all of it going on. The 36 I had mentioned on the inside of Ty Spearman. Those drivers make contact in the corner. The 36 gets sideways. We talked about that pit wall being right there. If this spin is out of 2, it's a 1-car accident. But the 36 hits the pit wall, bounces up. That's a big hit. The 35 gets turned. The 50, though, clobbered into the wall. You got the 58, the 84, the 63, the 30 machine, the 7 coming through, flying through there. That's the 97 of Dylan Schmidt. He plows into the wall as well. The big one in turn 4 when everything is on the line slows things down for the final time tonight. And now we look, do we get to go back green one final time? This time by, we'll get 3 laps to go. If the lights go off on the pace car at this point, we will get 2 laps to go at the end. If they don't go out, they go out the next time. It will be a 1-lap shootout, or we end under the caution flag. All we do now is sit and wait and watch race control. You take a look on board with that 63 Hunter Combs. He's P6, and he got lucky getting through that one.
Yeah, he only got a little bit of damage on the right front there, but that was another great avoidance job for the most part by Hunter Combs. He picked up a bunch of places there. He's actually back up to 5th now. And also, Mark Gamick, we saw him. He was running 4th there, and just a motor popped on him. So he's going to be in the back now. But so it's going to come down, I believe, to Schaefer versus Lankowitz.
The lights on the pace car did not go out this time by. We will get 2 laps to go. Lights out means it'll be 1.5 mile to determine the winner. If they stay on, this race is in the book. Start finish line, popsicle sticks in the air. It is going to be a 1-lap shootout, Andy Kassler, to determine the Pro Late Model feature winner.
Yes, so if you're not paying attention to the screen, now's the time to do it, because if you blink, you're going to miss something. This is going to be a wild one for the finish. A lot of money up for grabs for these guys. They've been having a great race with each other, and one more lap to decide it.
$265 is going to be dished out for this next lap. The pace car down. Schaefer in control. Green flag back in the air. They're already making contact in turn 4 to the inside. Schaefer's going to get turned from the race lead. Lankowitz will dump him to turn number 1, and it's Marinak leading down the back straightaway for the final time. Hunter Combs in second. Last-ditched effort for the Monster Energy Chevy. He can't get there, and Stefan Marinak wins the Pro Late Model feature. And talk about fisticuffs coming across the start-finish line. We knew that one was gonna get interesting. The 7 Linkowitz had to do something, and he wrecks him coming to the white flag. 7 up top, he turned the 22 of Schaefer. They get together, though, getting up the speed. Credit to Stefan Marinak for going to the inside of the racetrack to take advantage of that. And the 7 and the 22 with the big accident. Schaefer should be in victory lane. Instead, he's on his lid, and Stefan Marinak, guys, walks away as your feature race winner as we try to take a look at what the hell just happened.
That was just absolute mayhem.
I'll open up the floor to comments, guys. What about that one?
Yeah, I'll just tell you what right there. That was, man, the 7 just tried everything he can to pinch him down, to slow him somewhat down on the restart. Then they just ended up making some contact, went 3 wide. Marinak went to the inside, and then that was it. I don't know if there might have been a little bit of net code there. It kind of looked like maybe, because it just really just snapped right around on that 22 car. That thing just a mess. Onto his roof, a couple flips. It was a wild one right there, and I was able, like he did.
I just regained composure after watching Martinsville and Cisco talk about. I mean, these guys cranking it up, and again, Marinak, we saw Marinak slowly picked up a spot, then he picked up a second spot, then he picked up a third spot. Marinak, what might get lost in this, you saw that from the onboard. I don't think you can put complete blame on the 7. Now, we knew the 7 was going to be aggressive, but if you saw that from the overhead, the 7 is doing a good job of pinching your race leader. Marinak actually clips him in the left rear. It puts that 7 just a little bit more on that 22 of Schaefer. Both of those cars slide up the hill. They get together and wreck out. Now, is that something intentionally done by Marinak? No, but that slightest bit of contact combined with the fact that they were already inside each other's doors may have had a small part to do with it. Nonetheless, the 7 and the 22 aren't happy. Stefan Marinak and everybody watching will take it.
And I don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words for what we just witnessed there. That was carnage. That was carnage and chaos. I have no other. I don't know.
That's it. I'm feeling the same way, and that number 22 machine. A lot of the drivers now race control calling for a review of the finish. So I can't see a way or a reason in which Stefan Marinak doesn't win this race, but the finish is under review at the moment, and all of the drivers are being called to the SARA hauler. So we'll have to see what happens after that, and we'll try to catch some comments with these guys when we get back in a moment, but talk about fireworks at 5 Flags. And by the way, still 250 laps to come tonight with the super late models. Post-race show for the Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200. The Pro Late feature just put on the fireworks. We'll get an official word from Race Control in a bit. Back for the post-race show. You're watching LSRTV, the home of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series.
While lions are notorious for their voracious appetites, they spend a great deal of time feeding other creatures. In fact, lions will take great care to ensure there's plenty to go around. As you can see, they keep giving with utter ferocity. Bravo, lions, and bon appetit. Do good, be a lion.
in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's gonna be at the stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval. And that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself. And they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsport. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building two tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good, be a lion.
Well, slowly regaining our thoughts here at the Five Flag Speedway, we welcome you back into the LSRTV post-race show from the Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200. A lot to talk about. First, do need to note that Stefan Marinak, Hunter Combs, and Cody Erdman are your unofficial top three. James Linkowitz in the number 7 has been disqualified from the race at the moment. Additional penalties may be handed out because there was a lot of additional contact on that last lap. The 30, the 35, the 92. A whole lot of guys were getting ugly there across the start-finish line. I said there was over $265 on the line. That's what happens when there's a lot of money for a payout and there's only a half of a mile to get the job done. So we'll talk more in depth about that in a moment. But again, all we know for the moment is the 7 of James Linkowitz has been disqualified. That gives a P3 to the number 35 of Cody Erdman. And, well, Cisco, you've caught up on the pit lane with him. A good result for the driver that started back in 17th.
Yeah, I've caught up with Cody Erdman, driver in the number 35 down here on pit road. And Cody, you know, we didn't really get to talk a lot about you tonight, but, you know, a little bit of circumstance. But you come across the line third backwards. Talk about that last lap.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep my nose clean. I knew it was going to get a little crazy. I didn't expect that much, but just try to get through the carnage. I've done pretty well in that in my Mid-American stock car I run in real life, so I got a little bit of practice in doing that, but that was insane, massively insane.
You know, you had a good car all night. I believe you're going to be the hard charger, I believe. I don't know. It's going to be close, so we'll have to look at the numbers. But you had a great run all the way up from 17th. So talk about that. What was, how'd you get through the field that well?
The reason why I qualified back there, I just couldn't find a decent setup for the daytime. And then we had that practice this morning, and I jumped in there, and I was second fastest. I'm like, oh, this will be a good day. And then we had a 20-minute session right before the feature here, and I was, I think, 6th. And then I started going, and I was being patient with everyone, and I was stuck about 15th. And on the longer run, my car had turned to garbage. It was really tight. I tried passing like 4 people, and to be patient with them, it'd plow up, and I didn't want to wreck anyone. So I just took my time, and then right at the end, I just got through everyone's pretty much
On the calmest head.
Actually, I just really got myself. Just pretty much just like you get the posse and all that stuff here. You get those big teams here, and I'm just kind of the lone wolf running for myself. So hopefully that turns some heads, and maybe we can get a good team to run with.
Well, as we're showing the wreck right now at a turn 4, Cody, it's just, you know, you did a great job out there, and like you said, won the little teams. You know, you don't have the resources that the posse has, yet you're up there competing. That's got to feel good for you.
Yeah, it feels great. I ran the SK mod race last night, and we started second on the green-white checkered, and then I slid back to 5th. My car just didn't like the high side enough. So a 5th and a 3rd for 2 races. Decent payday for me for just enjoying what I love to do.
All right, well, that's your 3rd place finisher, Cody Erdman, coming through in the chaotic race I've ever seen. I believe Andy's caught up with our 2nd place finisher on the pit road.
That's right. I am down here with the driver of the Monster Energy number 63 machine, and that is Hunter Combs. And Hunter, wow, what an amazing race finish there. Walk us through your final 2 laps.
Well, helped out. The 65 got involved in that wreck off of 4 there, and we were pacing, and he blew up. So I was really going to start 6th, but then he blew up, obviously, and I put me down the bottom. And then the 22 and the 7, they just got into it. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay myself. But they all went up the track, and I just followed the 26 on the bottom. I tried slinging it in the 3. I was going to wreck them. I got damaged from earlier wreck, and it sort of killed me on the backstretch, but I tried giving him a bumper. I couldn't get to him. I was coming home 2nd, and then I seen a car going backwards, so I pinned myself up against the wall and brought it home 2nd somehow.
Well, somehow you said that. Let's talk about the race in general. 200 laps here. Beginning of the race, you started up on the front row, but it looked like you struggled a little bit, maybe with some handling. some tire issues, something going away there. You actually dropped outside the top 10. What happened to the car, and how were you able to get things righted and get yourself back up in contention?
Yeah, I was tight mainly at the beginning of the race. So I sort of faded back, and once I faded back to about ninth or 10th, I got stuck on the outside. I just was a bit of a wreck off of 4, and it took out my fender. So I just went in, pitted. I sort of changed up my tire strategy. I waited till about lap 130, I think I pitted. Let everyone pit before, so try to have something for end, but I was just really tight most of the race.
Well, it worked out for you here, coming home with a second place finish. So, I mean, it's just a wild night there. That last lap, a lot of chaotic things happen. You obviously in the right place, being on the bottom side on that restart. You were able to follow that 26 through all the mess. Come home with a second place finish. Sponsor shout outs for you here tonight.
I'd like to thank James Linkwitz. He painted this car for me. He's painted all my cars since I started running this league. Appreciate that a lot. The posse, they've helped me out with some setups. I honestly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Well, congratulations again. Great start to the night here for you. Coming home the second place finisher here at Five Flags. Congratulations again, and good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. Driver of the Monster Energy 63 car, Hunter Combs, comes home with a big second place finish after dodging all the wrecks there at the end, and he was able to get it done. And I think Evan has caught up with the guy who was actually restarted third on this restart, on the final restart, and come homes with the win.
Yeah, it was definitely an unprecedented finish in this one, and every single restart we said, all right, if you're that number 22, you got to be the first car to turn one, and every single time we saw a caution, there was one driver that inched a spot forward and inched a spot forward. He found himself in third, and by the time they got really across the start-finish line, he's able to hold on to the race lead after a spirited effort by Hunter Combs in turn 4. Stefan Marinak, your winner at the Five Flag Speedway, walks away with a $44 cash prize in the Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200. Stefan, first off, congrats to you. What was any of that? What could you make out from behind the wheel?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, it was a good race for the most part until the very end. And then the 7 he started racing like an idiot, and it seemed like he was trying to wreck all of us. And he wrecked the 22 on the restart, and 22 didn't like that.
And I just squeaked through. That's a safe statement to say. You went to the bottom in turn 3. Those guys wreck it up top side, and then you get to turn 2. You think you're good. Hunter Combs then comes in. He was getting ready to give you a shot, but you're able to hang on to it. But to come from 13th in this race, and the 26 comes home tonight, unlike many guys, relatively clean. A lot of the guys behind you, not much of a car left. Besides a tap to the back bumper, that Mockwood Racing Graphics Chevrolet looking pretty good. What was the key for you guys, excluding having all of that go down at the end there, to work your way from 13th up to those top 5 positions late, being consistent and improving throughout the entire race?
Yeah, I tried my best to keep it clean, and that was it. I mean, we had a pretty good setup. Me and Jason Williams, I think we did a really good job setting these cars up. And I stayed out of wrecks. I tried to keep it clean. And, like you said, every caution, I just kept getting up more and more and more because guys were wrecking out. And then, at the end, the doors open and, I got through.
We know it's a big win for you tonight live on LSRTV and iRacing Live, but in terms of how old that went down, got to be one of the more crazy races you've been a part of.
Yeah, I'll say, especially at the end, but I'm happy. I'm walking home with some money, so I'm not mad about it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. You're on the right side of the conversation for this one. You burned it down, and a couple of people I'm sure you want to thank, sponsors and shout-out staff. And who made you get to this point, and who was able to make you go home to victory lane here tonight in this race?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammate, Jason Williams. He did most of the setup, so I really got to thank him, and I owe him for the fast car I had. And then, just Mach 1 Racing Graphics. Check us out on Facebook. And
I want to thank and congratulations on the win. And our conversation is sure to continue for quite some time. But again, big congratulations to you. A strong car, and although, maybe what a lot of people are going to be talking about after this one is what happened there. You had the 26, and you deserved a good finish tonight. So congrats to you.
Thanks, Evan.
So that's your winner, and, well, again, there's a whole lot to talk about, guys. We knew with a half a lap to go it was going to be interesting. I'm expecting the 7 to give him a bump. I think we all are. Flipping to turn 1 and, drivers going the opposite direction and attempted retribution. Guys still wrecking each other in turn 4. There's a lot to break down, and for that, I do want to catch up and, give the microphone over to the administration team here at the Sim Auto Racing Association. I'll pass the mic over for a moment to Matt Rolfe. Matt, the mic's all yours.
Well, first of all, guys, I want to thank you guys. It's been a long weekend so far. You guys, broadcasted 3 of our races yesterday. We got 1 in the book so far tonight and another one coming up. So I know you guys are putting in a lot of hard work as well. Hopefully the first 170 laps of that race is pretty good for everyone to watch. I just wanted to come on and say the ending of that race is definitely not a representation of what this league is about. Penalties will be handed out for both drivers that caused some things at the end, and they will not be allowed to start the super late model race either. It's unfortunate for a lot of the guys that put a lot of hard work into their setups and their cars this weekend for that race, and to have a couple other guys in there causing things towards the end, it's not what this league is about. So I want to apologize to the other guys in the race and some of the fans that were watching. I'm sure some people got a kick out of it, and it was good. It was definitely good racing up until that point, but it's not what this league is about. And hopefully a lot more people tune in. Unfortunately, some people, but that's how it goes. But we'll move on. We should have a good super late model race coming up here.
You mentioned the top 170 laps of this race took no more than just about an hour, I think, in 5 minutes, so it was a good race. The only official word we have, the 7 disqualified, there was a whole lot that went down there on that last lap. Can you give us any insight on what specifically you guys will be looking at between now and the drop of the green for the super late model race?
Well, there's been a little bit of a history between the 7 and 22, and the past few weeks they've been a lot better, racing each other a lot better. I think when it came down to the end there, though, they remembered all the stuff that happens in the past, and I told them over the admin channel to let's keep it clean here. You guys have a lap shootout, let's finish it under green. And unfortunately, we had one driver turn down to the other one coming out of turn 4. That was a 7 turn in the 22, so that's why the penalty is against him. And then the 22 kind of going backwards there at the finish took. I don't know if it actually affected anything towards the end there, but it did. It's not what should be going on in a race like this, or any race period. So those are the 2 drivers that we're going to be looking at, and I guess the entire finish we're going to have to look at too, because there's a lot of guys out of order, out of place that probably shouldn't have been there at the end due to some unforeseen actions. But we'll take a look at it, and we'll move on from it and go from there.
We know it's been an exciting 6 days, and we're not quite done yet before we wrap this thing up. And Matt, all of the drivers, they thank their partners and their sponsors and such. And, we want to be a big thank to you for helping us out, make sure we got everything going for this. As the admin, though, behind the scenes, doing double duty out on the racetrack, I do want to give you an opportunity, and I hope we'll talk to you later as well when we close the weekend off. But I want to give you an opportunity to look at those first 170 laps and thank the people who make this possible.
Yeah, obviously, like I said before, I want to thank you guys. Got a lot of broadcasting going on this week and weekend, and we had 55 total drivers sign up for this whole entire week, and so this whole thing wouldn't be possible without those drivers. And I got to thank them they've been practicing and testing and qualifying all week long, and they put on a good show for a while there. And that's what this league is about, is clean, hard racing. Unfortunately, it got out of hand there at the end. It wouldn't be possible without all the drivers that signed up. We got another big race coming up. We got a lot of sponsors on board. BrenniganFord.com Ford is the super late model sponsor for this race. Got $250 up for grabs for that, just for the winner. Never mind the other $400 plus for the purse money. So I got to thank them. Callaway Investments has come on board, really big. NEO Racing News, Sci-Fly Discs, Mid-State Litho. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone here, but we got a lot of people helping out, so it's a cool deal. Pretty big event. I've heard you guys say it's one of the biggest sim racing short track events of the year, and I'm really proud to say that, or have you guys say that about that. We put a lot of work into this, so we're really proud of what we've done and what the drivers are doing out here.
And it's the finale that's going to cap things off in just a little bit over an hour with those super late, Matt. We'll let you get back down to race control, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you later on tonight. Thanks for chatting.
All right, thanks, guys.
So that is the man in the administration booth, Matt Rolfe, taking a look at some additional penalties outside of this. I'm going to agree with Ian Lane, though, and we got to wrap things up. Gabriel, I'll turn to you first, though. It all started in Martinsville. It's carried over to the Five Flag Speedway. I mean, everything absolutely broke out. And again, we got to talk about the end. That's our job, but not to take away the first 170 laps of this race were great, and that's exactly what we expect later. But that was probably the craziest finish that I have ever seen.
Well, in my opinion, the first 199 laps were great. Unfortunately, the 22 got taken out by the 7. Their madmens are taking a look at that, but I mean, he must have had an anger blackout and just wasn't thinking straight and did what he did. It's very unfortunate the race has to come to that. I was standing in my position on the end of pit road, and all of a sudden I see a car flipping over, and as soon as he gets back on his wheels, he's heading backwards, trying to take out the third place guy. I just don't know what to say about this race. Hopefully, we have a better ending to the super late model race. That's another reason for you guys to tune in about an hour. That race is going to be incredible. A lot of these guys getting a second chance. They've had a lot of practice all week. Like you guys said, it's going to be a great race. A lot of these guys, there's fast guys, probably about half a second between all of them. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
We're still not done, not even at 50% of the way through. 200 laps in the books, 250 still to come. But Cisco, I mean, if you're James Linkowitz, you're going in there to give him a shot. And the problem is he's on the outside. If he's in third, he can, I guess, give your conventional bump and run. He's got to do something. And I think what happens, you hit the 26 once, you get a little bit squirrely. You feel maybe he comes back and hits you back. And the next thing you know, you feel maybe that you're just turning into each other. Maybe the case for the 7 is, he hits him, the car gets upset. But once you hit each other once, you get angry because there's money on the line. So you're not going to get off each other.
Yeah, I think like Matt said, those guys had history together. I think that first hit brought back some flashbacks. And like I said, it was just a blackout going in turn 1. It's a very unfortunate end of the race.
And, we got to get set for that super late model race, Andy. Final thoughts on, this extremely interesting, exciting, thrilling, and unprecedented finish.
Yeah, that was, so I've watched the replay, Evan, at least, 20, 30 times now at the end. So it was just it was a fantastic race. These guys did a great job, hard racing all over the track all night long. And when it came down to the end, when you're putting all this money on the line and these guys just trying to do everything they can to get the win, and sometimes a lapse of better judgment does not come across the mind. You're trying to just get any advantage you possibly can. It was a wild finish, but a great job by the by these guys to get that last lap in, and Stephanie Marinak just having a fantastic job and being in the right place at the right time, take advantage of the front two guys' misfortunes. He comes out with the big win, and guys like Hunter Combs there that had some trouble early on, and a small team, for like Cody Erdman and stuff. So a lot of guys having some good fortune by the mistakes that happened at the end, but in the long run, it was a great start to our doubleheader tonight, and looking forward to the super late model event soon.
As we like to mention, we go back-to-back tonight for the super late model feature a little bit later, Cisco. We had said that there's $1,600 up for grabs this weekend. We saw the SKs, the trucks, the street stocks last night. Now the Pro Late models out of the way. The entire payout for this race is $220. The entire payout for the super late model race, more than triple that. More than the entire purse for this race alone goes to the winner of the next 250 laps. So what are your final thoughts on this one, and what can we expect to see for the main event on the weekend in just a little bit over an hour for the Brennigan.com Ford Fall Brawl 250?
Well, I can't help but think, because there's going to be all that money on the line, I can't help but think if it's going to be like this, but at the same time, we just had this, and we saw what the admins did. They jumped on immediately, so I can't help I don't think we'll see the same sort of just grudge match that we saw at the end of this race, but I've been in those positions for money races before, and some crazy stuff happens. It's definitely, when there's money on the line, people get a little extravagant, and we saw that at the end of this race, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, a little bit more extravagant driving in the next race, but I think after this one, they might have toned it down a little bit.
You're not going to want to miss that one. The Brennigan.com Fall Brawl 250, the super late model feature coming up just a little bit past 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight on LSRTV. That is where the big bucks are at. Until then, though, we got to clean the Five Flag Speedway off and get set to do battle one final time. So that wraps things up for the pro late models. The Emerald Designs Fall Brawl 200 in the books. Emerald Designs provided affordable and customized high-quality graphics for your motorsports needs, including paint scheme designs, logos, hero cards, and more. Congratulations to Stefan Baranak, and, well, he walks away with $45 cash for the win in this one, $250 to the winner of the next one. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be back live on LSRTV and iRacing Live in just a little bit. Until next time, on behalf of everybody inside of LSRTV and for the broadcast team tonight, myself, Evan Posoko, Andy Kessler, Cisco Scarmuza, Gabriel Wood, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, we thank you so much for tuning in. Super Lates, 9:30 Eastern on LSRTV. It's the place to be.